Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you now something the likes of which you've never seen before. The most dangerous combination of professional sports. The skill, the strength, the stamina, and the ability of two men blended together as one. The most exciting combination in the history of professional wrestling, twin sons of different mothers.
Chris Adams and Mike Currents.
Let's body slam the competition.
And welcome back, everybody, to another fun week of wrestling talk, y'all. That's right, wrestling talk. Mike, Chuck, we have had an up and down year so far, if I say so at best. We have had a lot of good, which I thought were good with the, pay-per-views and some decent story angles so far, and everything kind of holding its own. We got, in my opinion, and some other people's, even Impact Wrestling kind of making a small resurgence here, maybe trying to make its way back to a little bit of decency. But we at the same time have had a rough 2 weeks when it comes to wrestling legends, losing, Ivan Koloff and George the Animal Steel, Nicole Bass and Chavo Guerrero Sr. So things are very much hectic, to say the least.
Yeah, it's 2016 all over again with the wrestling taking some legends. Some are not so surprising, and some are very surprising, really, to be quite honest. But you're absolutely right. It seems that wrestling's in a weird place, but I think we're going to see a lot of good stuff this year. Something tells me this is going to be the year that turns wrestling around a little bit. So maybe I'll speak too soon.
And I think it goes to, for a lot of wrestling, not just the WWE as far as that goes either.
Yeah.
I mean, I know NXT is a part of WWE, but I mean, as what they call the, I don't know what the lower roster, however they want to refer to it. I mean, it's looking pretty good there as far as wrestling goes. Ring of Honor has been pretty exciting here lately with some stuff going on there. New Japan Wrestling just had a new member of the Bullet Club, I understand. We've got Impact Wrestling making a resurgence again, like I said, and the talks of Nick Aldis coming back, or Magnus, whatever you want to call him, possibly coming back to the show there and wrestling again. I guess he couldn't stay at home since Mickey James and popped back out on TV. He got to get back on TV too.
Exactly. Plus, behind the scenes, you have Nick Dinsmore, a.k.a. Eugene. Apparently, he's going to be heading up, I don't know if that's a rumor or not, but the writing team, which is really exciting because people that don't know Nick Dinsmore, he's an amazing wrestler, and I think they dumbed him down with a stupid character, Eugene, and did a disservice. But him being involved with any kind of wrestling behind the scenes is a major coup to the WWE.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think of the week we had so far with wrestling, as far as the wrestling itself goes?
It was a decent week of wrestling. That's it's not the best, it's not the worst. It's in the middle of the road somewhere.
I thought you'd been jumping for joy. I mean, El Generico got beat down pretty bad. I thought you'd been bragging and talking about that by now.
You know what? I've decided not to harp on the guy. He can't help the fact that he's not entertaining and that he's, a soulless ginger. It's not his fault. Any more than it's KJ's fault that he is what I would like to consider the articulate architect of intellect in this group. He can't help that.
Thank you.
Fancy title there. I mean, hey, say that 5 times fast.
Well, Chris, I had something in mind for you too. Since you're the host and you're the lead man, I'm thinking that you should just be known as Chris Adams, the Muggle nerf hurting Tribble. because you just kind of show up out of nowhere, eat all the food, and you're cute, so we keep you around.
At least I wasn't
really?
scruffy looking. I mean, you did include scruffy looking at least.
No,
I appreciate that.
you're not scruffy looking. Yeah.
Nicely done. Nicely
Thank you very
done.
much. I resemble that remark. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
But seriously, let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room with the wrestling of this past week, and that is Bayley defeating Charlotte for the women's title. And you know what's going to happen, Chris Adams, because the same thing happened to one of Bayley's heroes back in the day, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Daddy. He won the title from Ric Flair.
And what happened?
And then they stripped him of the title, Daddy.
Stripped him.
They stripped him of the title. And that's what's going to happen. Bayley's going to get in the ring, and she's going to be like, "It's hard times on Bayley. They stripped me of the title."
Wait a minute. Is
Bayley's
that what
hard times.
Listen, is that what they call in the business a dusty finish?
Yes, I believe it's one of the dusty finishes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's one of those deals there.
And I bring it all back around, gentlemen. You're welcome. There's a reason why I'm on the show. You're welcome.
I know.
Anyway,
that's why you're the articulate architect of intellect. I mean.
Oh, thank you.
Now, did you see the rest of that story though, Mike? About how they're talking about stripping her, possibly her being stripped Monday of the title, just to have her win it back on WrestleMania.
Well, I didn't see that because that would require me to actually read something, and I really didn't care enough about it to read it.
Hey, Chuck, you're in a barrel somewhere. Hey, Chuck, KJ. You're in a barrel. You're deep in a hole somewhere. We can hardly hear you.
KJ, quit sitting on your phone.
Are you there? Are you with us?
All right, we're just going to pretend like KJ's not here anymore. I think he's talking about how much he loves James Ellsworth.
I think it's what it sounds like. Yes, I mean
that's what it is.
Kind of,
I mean,
it's kind of
we all know that deep down inside that KJ is an incredible Ellsworth fan. Like he's got the posters, he's got the playing cards, he's got that gold Ellsworth shirt, and he wears it to bed. It's like two sizes too small, but he squeezes his manly frame into it and wears it to bed at night. And you know as well as I do. I mean, that's just how it is. He loves James Ellsworth. KJ is like James Ellsworth's #1 fan. He's like a 14-year-old girl with Justin Bieber when he still had the funky hair that he stole from Peter Noon.
Are you done? Are you done?
I'll never be done.
You just fell out completely a while ago. We couldn't hear hardly anything you were saying. I mean, what's up with that?
No.
Did you pay your bill? Are you on Tim's phone? Are you on Tim's phone?
What?
Is that what's going on?
No, because if not, I would sound. If I was on Tim's phone, I'd sound like I'm like blowing candles.
Can I do an impression of Tim's phone?
Sure.
Yeah,
Road Warriors.
That's exactly how it is.
You know if he's listening, he's going to call in now, all mad and everything.
Yeah.
We won't hear half of what he says though, because
Yeah, exactly.
Tim's phone sounds like it's lost in the cleavage of an extremely large woman, and he is trying to still talk on it, and he's screaming down into the front of her shirt going, "Can you hear me?" And it's down in there rubbing between boob sweat. And
that's
probably
funny.
short-circuiting a little bit.
Oh, where did the show
That's
go?
funny.
What were we talking about a while ago? We were talking about something wrestling-wise. I know we were.
Bayley.
Bayley, that was it. Yes, they're
Chuck
saying that
wants-
she will end up getting stripped of it just to win it back at WrestleMania in a possible 3- or 4-way match, triple threat or a fatal 4-way. That's just a prediction someone threw out there, that they'll strip her of the belt this upcoming Monday, and then she'll get it back at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen.
I mean, what's the difference in having it now versus waiting till WrestleMania? I mean, they just want to just tease it a little bit longer. Is that what it is? You think?
Well, that'll be Charlotte's first loss at a pay-per-view.
Yep.
Well, that's true. But you know what? At this rate, she's going to break her dad's record before John Cena will.
Yeah.
Oh, snap, son. Oh, snap. I can't believe you went there, but thank God you did. Yeah, and then she'll be the queen of pay-per-view. She's poised to be the female version of her dad. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, but I don't have a problem with that because I love Charlotte Flair, and I'm always going to love Charlotte Flair. So.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Charlotte either. I mean, I think it's it'll be a great storyline if they keep doing it and teasing it some more. If they really want Bayley to have the belt for a little bit, to tease it a little bit longer to the fans would be worth it because that reminds you of how it used to be, how like you said, the dusty finish. You want him to have it, he almost has it. Nope, taken away. Being like the way it happened or outside interference occurred.
Or he's the Midnight Rider.
Or the Midnight Rider, yes. You can't have a masked man being the champion for some reason. That would be just crazy, wouldn't it? What about, now I know Mike mentioned earlier I was teasing Mike about Sami Zayn a little bit, but Sami Zayn seems to be in a bit of a role here. I mean, taking out Rusev. I mean, what's up with that? I mean, are they punishing Rusev for a little bit, or are they just, trying to give Sami a break and give him a bit of a push since they put him through that whole ordeal with Braun Strowman?
Maybe a little bit of both. And why not? But or maybe he just showed has shown promise because apparently that's why they gave him the annoying little gimmick that they had there, the nerdy, speaking like going crazy, a little bit spastic. Apparently that's something he pissed somebody off or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they were like, okay, you're out of purgatory, let's go. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
Somebody said last week he looked like a generic cab driver coming to the ring. I mean, as far as what his gimmick was. I mean,
hilarious.
They liked him in NXT, enough to push him to champion for a bit. And him and Kevin Owens had some great matches together. They did. So, I mean, the fact that he would be getting some kind of a push on Raw doesn't really surprise me any at all. I was just really curious and wondering what the whole thing with Braun Strowman was supposed to be about. That, to me, was just stupid. But, I mean, I get the whole David Goliath kind of feel, but it just didn't really do anything for me as far as the storyline goes. I wasn't into it.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it didn't make sense to me, and I guess that maybe they were trying to make him look tougher and everything like that. I think it did. Maybe it made Zayn look tougher, but it also made Braun Strowman weaker. Speaking of which, if we can segue into this, if you've seen what happened in Dallas over the weekend, in WWE event, live WWE event, apparently there was a match between both Strowman and Roman Reigns. And guess who went over? Anyone?
I didn't hear about this, so you're going to let me know.
Basically, Roman Reigns got the victor. Like, apparently a clean pin. Why would you do that? Why
It's a house show, though, right?
House show or not? Yes, but it doesn't matter.
They test a lot of things at house shows, really. They do that a lot.
I know, but what you do is you have a great match, and then you have it be double count out, double disqualification, whatever. You never do clean pin. I don't like that. I think it, especially with the age of the internet, why would you do that? It's going to get back to people. I know
they said that, if you remember, they tested the first Royal Rumble at a house show, a smaller version of it, with about 11 to 15 people, something like that. They tried it out, and the fans never really got into it too much. It kind of flopped, they said. So Vince felt okay about it because it was at a house show and didn't mean a whole lot to him really at the time. And they went on to do several more things over the years, reportedly testing things out, trying things out in front of a crowd, but not on television, because they don't lose as much in front of one town versus on television in front of the world watching. So maybe they were just kind of feeling the crowd out to see what the reaction would be with a clean win from Roman Reigns, which shouldn't be. It shouldn't take too much of a genius to figure out what the crowd's going to do, because hardly any of the crowds anywhere they go like Roman Reigns that much. So to me, I mean, you're going to have the usual boos and cheers regardless if he wins or loses. And if he loses, you might hear the cheers a little more adamantly than the boos, because those are the ones that are usually a little bit more into it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure why they would do it. I'm just speculating that they're testing something out possibly at a house show. I don't know why you do it otherwise, unless they're just flip-flopping back and forth, different cities doing different things, who gets to win and such. It's like a real record's kept anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like that then the next house show that they have in a major city, they need to have Braun Strowman get over. Although, I think that things are going to be a little bit different. There'll be a bigger ripple if Strowman gets over on Reigns at a house show. That's what I think.
Yeah, and Strowman did get over on him on Raw this past Monday night as well. Roman Reigns had that. I don't know why they did that 2-on-1 match against the Club. I didn't quite get that. That seemed rather kind of like just filler time to me than anything.
Yeah.
I would have thought they might have had a repeat occurrence of the week before with Samoa Joe, and had them two kind of go back at it one more time. But that didn't seem to happen. They just had Samoa Joe come out and beat up Sami Zayn instead. Roman Reigns coming out to the Braun Strowman and Mark Henry match kind of led people to believe at first, I think, that if he came out, that Stephanie McMahon might take his opportunity away later, but the only thing that saved him from it was him getting the low, the worst end of the stick there against Strowman at the end. He get power slammed and left laying in the ring.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I will tell you something else, though. The highlight of Raw for me was definitely the Festival of Friendship that they put on there.
That's what I'm saying. Wait, that's why I was upset when Mike was like, I think that's one of the best segments. It was a roller coaster ride. It was funny and it was heartbreaking because, to be quite honest, I don't care what anybody says. Like, there's memes. It was funny because there's memes. One's like, women cried at the Notebook, men cry at, and it's the festival, and he's like looking at the list. That was heartbreaking, and because it almost felt like Chris Jericho was kind of peeling everything back when he was like, I just want to say this was the best time of my career. I have a lot of fun with you. You're my best friend. Like, it came from the heart, even though we know it's kayfabe. And for him to turn around and just be like, why is my name on the list? And then turn around and says this, and then get attacked, like, that was heartbreaking. It just was. But it was hilarious up to that point. I was rolled.
The picture.
The picture.
That was something else. Stand out.
All right.
That leading up to the list.
Okay, you two talking heads. We have a caller on the line. His name is Ray, and he told me on Facebook that he's got some bitching to do.
Uh-oh.
So Ray, you need to bitch away, buddy.
What's up there, Mr. Current?
Oh, we're just bitching about wrestling, the same thing we do every week here on Body Slam the Competition.
Mr. Current at that.
Yeah.
My gripe is this. First of all, they need to stop pushing Charlotte Flair and Roman Reigns down people's fucking throats. They need to realize that nobody gives a rat's ass about either one of them.
Oh, we love Charlotte on this show.
I disagree. I disagree, sir.
Roman, yes. Roman is a giant piece of shit. But the problem with Charlotte Flair is that she's so much better than every single other woman on the roster that
it's not even funny.
It's ridiculous.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not denying her in-ring ability. She comes from a lineage. But the problem is that they're shoving her down everybody's throat in terms of, well, let's do title changes every other goddamn week. Okay, this is her first full year on the main roster, and she's got what? She's a 5-time champion already, or something like that.
Which kind of goes back to my remark from earlier. She's going to break her father's record before Cena will.
Pretty much. You know, they need to give it to something. If they want to have any kind of legitimacy to the women's championship, let it be held for a while. Don't switch it back and forth like they are. Okay.
The word is they're going to strip her of
John-
the title this week, though, and give it back to Charlotte, supposedly. Strip Bailey,
Well, they're trying to-
from the win.
Right, and they're trying to keep her undefeated pay-per-view record going, which is another thing in terms of giving Bailey the belt. Okay, if they wanted to take the belt off Charlotte, and sorry if I'm all over the place, but they
That's
wanted
fine.
to
We
give the
usually
belt
are
to-
too.
If they
Go ahead.
want to give the belt to Charlotte, to Bailey, okay, that's one thing. Let her win it at Mania. Make it like a triple threat or a fatal four-way or something, and don't let Charlotte get pinned, because then technically she would not have lost at the pay-per-view if somebody else got pinned.
I hear you. That's actually a good idea. That's actually a really good idea. The problem I have with Bailey being champion is I don't believe her being world champion. I think she's got amazing ability, but as Mike said, Charlotte, they just need to bring somebody in that's going to be Charlotte's equal. I think the only person, and there's no way I don't think they're bringing her anytime here, is Asuka. She's not coming up because now she has what?
Asuka's going to stay on
sorry,
NXT probably for another 6 months to a year.
Yeah, because she has that record. I'm hoping that nobody is going to beat the undefeated record. She's 25 away from that. So.
Right. Who do they really have on the NXT roster? They've got Peyton Royce, they've got Billie Kay, they've got Liv Morgan, they've got Ember Moon. Those are the only notable females they even have down there.
I think Ember Moon, but Ember Moon's not ready. But if they really get her going, see, she reminds me of Naomi in that Naomi is very athletic, but she's not really a wrestler. That's how I feel about Ember Moon. Is she's very athletic. She probably has a little bit more wrestling ability, but I don't see it. Not yet.
Yeah, just like most of the other women on the roster, most of them are really athletic unless they're like Carmella.
Oh my God!
It's like look at Dana Brooke. She looks like she should be ripping phone books in half somewhere. I mean, that literally looks like what she ought to be doing. She ought to be standing on the corner somewhere ripping phone books in half.
She's a blonde meatball. I really don't like her. She's a meatball.
I'm
going to roll her down.
I will say this. I want to say this about Charlotte Flair is that honestly, within the WWE itself, there are very few women that will come close to her. In wrestling as a whole, there are very few women that would come close to her, and that is what makes Bailey so unacceptable to me as a world champion. That and the fact that when she did that...
You look at Bailey, it's the Daniel Bryan syndrome all over. It's the underground.
No, it's not Daniel Bryan, because, see, Bailey looks like the girl that shows up to sell you something because she's trying to get to college, like Deb on Napoleon Dynamite. That's who Bailey is.
You know what
when she did that Bailey to belly on Nia Jax, off the road.
Nobody believes it.
And I put my hands in the air and went, this is complete bullshit, because someone was praying that Nia actually turned and didn't splat Bailey on the mat, because there is no way she was moving that woman.
Listen,
I couldn't move that woman.
Listen, I really feel this is the truth. When you said selling something, I'm half expecting her after she wins to pull out Girl Scout cookies and start selling them to the crowd. Like, that's how I feel about Bailey. She won so she can get her, like, Weeblo badge or whatever the hell it is, equivalent.
So the other problem is with the women's division is that there's only, four active competitors on each brand.
Yeah.
So there's really no chance at any kind of real feud or anything. Like, they should have just never split the women up. They should have just let the belt go from show to show.
I think
because
they got
that didn't
more
make
to work
sense.
with. They just don't do it, though. I mean, like Carmella, even though we don't like Carmella that much, they don't put her in many wrestling matches. You don't see
What she brings
Nikki Bella on TV
she brings
wrestling
heat.
too much, although she's got that thing with Natalya going on. They don't really do a lot of wrestling on TV. They just make appearances on TV, it feels like. And then you see
Right.
the champion either once a week or every other week show up in a match against someone, possibly. Or we get like the Mickie James versus redheaded girl, Becky, going on for a couple weeks in a row. And I have no problem with either one of them. I mean, I like both of them. I have no problem with them. I don't. I mean, as far as SmackDown goes, these guys have to give me grief a lot because I like Alexa Bliss. She's not the greatest athlete, but she's a fun heel to watch, though. She's a fun.
She's a heel. It's her personality.
She's great on that mic, though, too.
Yes,
she's
a very fun heel, and she is somewhat athletic. She's not the most gifted at wrestling, but she's a little athletic, and she's great on the mic. She's a fun heel to listen to, and I enjoy that. That's what makes it fun because you want the person that's supposed to be the face to come after her and get the win on her. But when they don't, it's even that much more better because now you get something to look forward to the next week again too. And she's so good at taunting them.
Well, Ray has a good point though. If let me put it this way: what they should have done with the women's division, they should have done just like 205. What happened? Raw got the cruiserweights. They got all the cruiserweights. SmackDown doesn't have it. Why not have all the women on SmackDown, or however you? Because the problem is, he's absolutely right. You don't really have a division. You don't really like. Hey, why not have Alicia Fox wrestle? She's good. She's good enough. Huh?
I said Alicia Fox. Sorry, it made me think of Noam Dar when he calls her Alicia Fox.
Oh, okay, yeah. Very, very nicely done, sir. But that's what I'm saying. You have these female wrestlers, and then why not have some of these wrestlers that Alexa Bliss was wrestling, like that conquistador woman, shtick. Have these up-and-comers come up and wrestle. You know what I mean? Like local, whatever.
Well, they have that women's tournament that they're coming up with this summer, and they're bringing in indie people like Kimberly and stuff like that they're supposed to. I mean, Kimberly's already been on NXT.
Right.
I mean, she got destroyed, but they're bringing these people in. But again, you're going to put these people in NXT when they've already got, legitimate indie experience, and nonetheless, they're journeymen, so to speak. They've been around. They've been around all over the place, like Samoa Joe and AJ Styles.
I want to make a comment as to what you guys had said there a second ago about why didn't they put all the women on one show? Have you kind of noticed that the women on SmackDown are also the women on Total Divas, and the women on Raw, not so much?
Well, that's the other thing. SmackDown's going to be losing somebody because if you think about it, from reports that I've been reading, I follow a guy named Ollie Davis. He does Wrestle Talk News. Okay, I watch his videos every day. He has already stated that they're going to be pushing for a storyline between The Miz and Maurice versus John Cena and Nikki Bella at WrestleMania because Nikki Bella is supposed to be retiring after WrestleMania because she's getting numbness on one side of her body from the neck injury.
And they're saying Cena's losing more time as well, supposedly.
Yeah. Cena's probably about done.
Cena's leaving for a couple months after Mania as well because of the fact that he's filming that new comedy he's supposed to be in. The problem with him is they want to give him the 17th title. Okay, whatever. The man is one of the hardest guys to work. I mean, one of the hardest workers in the industry. He's flying all over the place. He's promoting this. He's doing that. Okay, and he wants to bitch that he's not getting Goldberg, Lesnar money. All right, whatever. Dude, you're making all this other money doing films and promotions and everything else. All right, so how much more money do you possibly need? But, okay, give him the 17th title, but turn him heel. Do to him what they did to Hogan in 95, 96.
They'll never do it. They'll never do it. They'll never do it.
Never.
He makes
We
too
They've
much
already had,
money.
they tried it 5 years ago. They wanted to do it 5 years ago, and they already had the music set and everything, and they pulled the plug. They couldn't
Right.
pull the trigger.
Yeah, but
Right,
but
because
the
he
thing
grants
is,
more
he-
Make-A-Wishes than anybody in history. If they
Yeah, he's
flip
not-
him
it's not
heel,
gonna happen.
it will
Yeah.
ruin. It will ruin what they have with John Cena.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, the smart fans will be happy. They'll make the smart fans, the smarts happy. They'll make them happy. But the problem is the smart fan to casual fan to soccer mom to kid ratio is uneven, and they're gonna go with what not only makes them money, because I don't think that Cena's going heel is going to make anywhere near the money the merchandise is going to make anywhere near when he's a face. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't make sense. We would love it. I would love it. I'd be the first to tell you I'd love it. But it's not going to happen until his star fades, and that's not going to happen anytime soon. So
Well, no, I can agree with that. But what about turning Roman Reigns heel?
Oh, are you kidding me?
He's
That would
already
make
a
the
heel. What are
most
you talking
sense.
about?
Dude, yeah, he's already a heel. He does
Well,
heel things.
there's already talks of him going to SmackDown. See, my thing is this, and I watched the 24 they did for WrestleMania from last year, and he's already stated, I know people are booing me, but whether they're booing me or they're cheering me, their asses are up out of the seats.
Yeah, because they're going to the concession stand. Go to a live event and see what happens.
Hey, guys, I have to say, well, first off, I'll be bringing somebody on here in just a second here with this, so I want to say one thing real quick. I did see the same thing that Ray's talking about Roman Reigns possibly going to SmackDown. Vince McMahon's wanting him to go to SmackDown, they're saying. And I don't know the exact reason what it was. I didn't quite catch that part, but I did catch a little bit of that. It being sent over possibly. It would be a couple of months down the road still before it would happen. Coming on the show with us here also, not only do we have Ray talking to us about, Charlotte and Roman Reigns, we have the Ray coming on the line with us as well, too, now.
We're getting overrun by Rays.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Good.
All right.
Ray is my favorite human being, if not favorite black man. I love him. He's the man. I really do.
No, he's the
Ray.
Ray.
Is awesome. Oh,
No,
no,
hold on.
I apologize.
Is
The Ray.
Ray your favorite black man, or the Ray your favorite black man? You gotta get it straight.
I'm gonna go with the Ray. I just something tells me I should go with the Ray.
Okay.
Survey
the
says, the Ray.
I appreciate that so much. Thank you very
goes
much.
by the Nature Boy.
Oh no, you're thinking that's not the Ray. You're thinking that's the Earl.
That's the Earl. Son.
Ah.
That's the Earl. Yes, it is, sir. Don't get that twisted. But
Yeah, no, we are. I like Earl, but we are very two different individuals. I'll tell you that.
think? You think? Like, I've never met an individual like Earl is literally the Black Ric Flair. He is just I don't even know how to explain Earl.
I swear,
don't.
he orders Ric Flair sweat and injects that shit in his veins daily.
I truly
swear to
believe.
God.
I say the one way me and Earl are alike. Well, there are several ways we're alike, but there are a lot more ways we're different. But
Okay.
the one main way we're alike is like we love 80s wrestling apparently, because Earl looks like he loves 80s wrestling with the stuff he posts. So
Yeah.
He's all about NWA, WCW, the Four Horsemen, and everything, man. That's Earl in the hand. That's all together right
I'll
there.
be meeting the Four Horsemen in Lita next month.
What's that again?
I said I'll be meeting the Four Horsemen, and it'll be Tully Blanchard, Paul Roma, Ric Flair, and J.C. Dillon, Tully Blanchard. Yeah, I don't know why I said Paul Roma. Tully Blanchard, Barry Windham, J.J. Dillon, and Ric Flair next month, along with Lita.
I got to tell you, I'm a little bit
New
upset
Jersey?
about one. I'm a little bit upset about one thing. Today in Pensacola, Florida, which is just 2 hours from me, they had a Comic-Con there. And I was supposed to go originally, but I was really sick yesterday, and I was just getting over it this morning. We were going to try and go anyway, but we heard from people that went that are friends of ours that they had lines an hour and a half outside of the building waiting to get in because the place was too small for the venue. And they were going to have they had Ric Flair, Jake the Snake Roberts, Mick Foley, and Exotic Adrian Street. All four were there.
No. Oh, no.
I would have loved
You guys,
to
you guys
met
heard
Jake
who's
the Snake
playing.
Roberts.
You guys heard who's going to play Jake the Snake Roberts in that movie about Paige, right?
No.
The Rock is going to be producing a movie about Paige, along with his Tooth Fairy co-star, that real tall, skinny British guy with the glasses.
Mhm.
He's directing it. They're doing it about Paige's life, about her family history and everything like that. And they're talking about casting Vince Vaughn as Jake the Snake Roberts.
How's that going to
What?
work?
First of all, what? Like,
I mean,
Vince Vaughn is not... What?
You said Paige's movie. Did you say Paige as in the diva Paige, or are you talking about Diamond Dallas Paige? Because some people call her Paige as well.
Paige as in the diva Paige.
Why are they making a movie about her?
They're going with the family history because it's a female wrestling family because technically Paige has been wrestling since she was in the womb.
Man, there's like a dozen, if not 24 other families better than her wrestling family was that they could make a movie about. Why would they go with Paige?
Oh, they could have went with probably because she's the most famous. She was the first famous family female to do it even before Charlotte. If you think about it.
No, she has a very interesting life, and she also has a very interesting family. I think her mom is batshit crazy, and I just think that but it's odd choices, and it's supposed to be based off of Paige and not exactly Paige, because who's the lead? The female lead is not. I think she's Latino or Samoan.
No, it's a white girl, but it's
Her name is Florence
Emma
Pugh.
Watson. Who was it?
The woman playing Paige's name is Florence Pugh.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm off.
You said Florence Pugh? As in
P-U-G-H, Pugh.
As in
I was thinking
this movie is probably going to suck.
I started saying it sounds in movies like Pepe.
All right, so I've got my theory already, guys. This is coming in from the cosmos into my brain from the mothership.
Wait a minute, it better be good, because, listen, are you sure you want to do this? Because WWE stealing, ideas, who knows what Hollywood will do.
Well, see, the WWE is producing this movie. This is a WWE movie, and this is my thought. This is their big fat fuck you to Paige. She's done nothing but throw temper tantrums and been a little bitch. So they're saying, okay, we'll just make a movie about your family, and we'll make a bunch of fucking money off of your name, and you can, you suck our assholes.
That is true. That is true.
I don't know about a bunch of money off this movie.
Yes.
Oh, man. DVD sales. This thing will be selling in DVD for the next 30 years, and people are going to buy it, and they'll be like, we'll be old, and we're like, I remember when she came out and she beat AJ Lee, and where's my pills, Billy?
Yeah, she looked like the goth female version of Casper the Friendly Ghost.
So, are you going to get more redneck when you get older, KJ? Because that's how it sounds.
No, I was doing you. I wasn't doing me.
Oh, you were doing me. I didn't even feel it, man. You
only in wet dreams, buddy. Only in wet dreams.
What in the hell did I just come in on that?
Both Rays are sitting there going, I called in tonight for this.
Ray, just watch where you step, brother. Watch where you step. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
Not a problem.
Anyway, listen to me. As far as Paige is concerned, she is a train wreck. Alberto Del Rio and her will have a marriage and a divorce in 3 years, if that. And she will look like what is it? Honey Boo Boo's mom. Another two.
Apparently, Honey Boo Boo's mom is hot now.
I started saying the old Honey Boo Boo mom or the new Honey Boo Boo mom?
Yeah, no, the old one. The old one.
Okay.
The old one.
You know what? She should have just stuck to my original plan for her, which was to marry Sheamus and reproduce and have the most white being ever. That would have been the whitest person ever born. It would have been transparent. It would come out, seeing the internal organ. So damn white.
Do you think they'd name it John Cena once it's born?
Because you can't see it?
Maybe.
That's right. Exactly.
Oh, y'all are funny.
There's also talks that they want to move AJ Styles to Raw.
So is it going to be like a trade? Are you talking like Styles and Roman Reigns?
Hey, Chris, shut up. The Ray wants to talk.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. Were you speaking?
Yeah, you know.
Trying to.
I'm used to it, but that's okay. But see, when you say these talks, like, who are these people talking? Like,
Dave Meltzer and Wrestle Report.
Yeah, it's been online.
Okay,
that's where I saw it too.
Some like when people say, for the most part, there's been talks. This is normally something they read on Facebook somewhere. And like,
no, I was telling these gentlemen, I watch a guy called Ollie Davis, and he does a thing called Wrestle Talk News, and I watch him every day, and he reports it from Dave Meltzer. I've even spoken to Dave Meltzer on Twitter and stuff, and he said, yeah, these are all confirmed stuff. They're just not sure when they're pulling the trigger.
And with that article they had online about it, they said that Vince McMahon's the one who's wanting to push Roman Reigns to SmackDown, that he is thrilled with the way Roman Reigns has come along, and he feels like he should have him on SmackDown. Now, the whole thing with AJ Styles, I didn't see that part yet. I don't doubt it though either. It could just be a trade between the two brands, of one to the other one.
That's what I hope.
I think it's because of the fact that. I think it's because of the fact that with SmackDown getting the better ratings than Raw, they want to push AJ Styles to Raw because AJ's a hot commodity. People want to see AJ Styles. Plus, they figure the feuds between possibly him and Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and stuff like that. They figure AJ can bring viewers to Raw, and they figure with the viewership that SmackDown already has, it'll push Roman Reigns itself.
I hope they don't start moving people to Raw and moving people to SmackDown because
no, just leave them as they are.
All of this just backlash over. Maybe if we put him over here, he'll get some cheers or whatever. He'll bring ratings. Maybe if we move this person, I don't want them to do that. Well, I don't think they should do that because they see a bunch of stuff going on or like people writing whatever, and think that.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
I think they should do it because they'll give them a reason. There should be a better reason, and when I say better reason, I mean storyline purposes, a few, something that happened, somebody who already might have something going on from the past, something like that, anything other than, oh, well, the internet don't like this, so let's move them over here and see what happens then. Like,
right.
That's just asinine booking to me.
I mean, what about just to restart the feud of AJ Styles and Samoa Joe? Just to restart that alone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that'll be that if that happens or somehow at a joint pay-per-view or something like that, they have a run-in and then that leads to Styles going to Raw in like a month or so, then great. That makes sense. But like I said, just to be like, oh well, we need more ratings for Raw and AJ Styles getting these ratings on SmackDown, so let's just put them on Raw and see what happens.
I think it's more than just AJ Styles though. I think there's a lot of things that go in that make SmackDown the better show.
Oh yeah.
AJ Styles is one of those things. Another fact is that it's only 2 hours long.
I was just about to say the ratings are being hurt by the fact that Raw is 3 hours long. It's getting way too drawn out.
And then
here's the thing though, they are making so much money in that third hour.
Oh yeah.
Trust me. It's not going back to 2 hours no time.
Right.
It never will.
I wouldn't say never. I mean,
I wouldn't say never either. It has before.
When God forbid this doesn't happen anytime soon, but when Vince finally, goes, Triple H has got some things I see coming down the pipe with what he's doing and what his plans are. Where he's trying to if you can even imagine him expanding it past what Vince did. Look at the whole UK tournament thing. So
you look at what they're doing at NXT. That's Triple H's baby. Vince has no say over that.
I wouldn't say he has no say. I think he lets Triple H run it. But if Vince sees something he don't like, if he's something he don't like, he's going to stop it. I mean,
that's true.
Well, yeah. But speaking of NXT, we were talking about storylines. Seth Rollins being out, nobody knows if he's actually going to compete at Mania. I think a great storyline that they've used was, and I'm big on Bobby Roode, okay? Bobby Roode saying, starting something along the lines of, Bobby Roode starting shit saying he's the greatest, this, that, and the other thing.
and somehow calling out Triple H and it building between those two, and then like Triple H causing Bobby Roode to lose the title at NXT in Orlando, setting up a match, a last-minute match against him and Triple H at WrestleMania in Orlando. I think that would be a great match.
I don't see Bobby Roode coming up until after Mania. If he comes
and
up,
honestly,
soon after that.
And honestly, the Ray, I don't foresee Bobby Roode going to the main event in the WWE at this point. I think he's too old.
No.
I mean, he's 40 years old now. He's got what, maybe five more viable years.
But AJ's 39.
At the very point, and I said the same thing when AJ Styles came up, and this was before they did the whole draft thing. I said if AJ, and I told Rob, I said the only way AJ Styles gets that World Heavyweight title is if when they draft though and they split that whatever if the side he goes on has the WWE World title, he'll win it that way. As long as them two belts are combined, he was not going to get that World title.
Right. And Ray, you got to remember, AJ didn't go to NXT. He circumvented that shit altogether.
Right.
So, yeah, Bobby's a great wrestler. He is. He's like 5 years too late to the game, though.
But, and another thing, if you like these so-called casual fans, if you ask a casual fan if they knew who Bobby Roode and AJ Styles was, if they didn't watch TNA at all, they knew AJ Styles.
Right.
So he had a bigger name than Bobby Roode. He didn't have to go to NXT.
Right, but also back then, Bobby Roode was still a mid-carder back when AJ was running in TNA. The only reason Bobby Roode elevated to where he was is because guys like Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle all left.
Right.
For necessity, if anything. If they were to cause what you're talking about and cause Bobby Roode to lose the title, who'd be the person to take the belt? I mean, Nakamura's playing the injury angle right now, right?
Nakamura is actually he's been at the Performance Center, and they've been keeping a close eye. And they said he should be ready by Takeover.
So that's the case. They can put the belt back on Nakamura again. Now, but do you want to put the belt back on Nakamura, or do you want to try to put him up on one of the main rosters?
So Nakamura's coming up.
No, Triple H already stated Nakamura's not ready yet. They want him to work. I agree with Mike.
I'm gonna tell you now. And by no means am I diminished. I think WrestleMania is gonna be a great show. The Raw after WrestleMania will be probably hotter than WrestleMania.
I have two problems with WrestleMania so far. If it happened, I have two problems.
What, like Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker?
No, I'm not messing with
anybody versus The Undertaker. Undertaker should be done.
I'm not messed up with Roman Reigns. A lot of people hate Roman Reigns. I don't love Roman Reigns. I do not hate Roman Reigns. I'm borderline with him. The only thing that I hate is that he uses the Superman punch 500 times a match, and he can be hit with a Mack truck and kick out at two. I hate that whole thing. When he kicked out of the brass knuckles punch, he should have been out for the whole match. I hated that. But I'm not really messed up with him facing The Undertaker. What I don't want to see, though, is I don't want to see Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles if it happens like they say it might happen. I don't want to see John Cena and Nikki Bella against The Miz and Maurice because of some petty angle they cook up at the last minute. And supposedly starting off this past week, when that flower or whatever it was got tossed all over Maurice by accident, they're saying that's supposed to kick it off as the whole thing. And this is like a petty angle to make a match at WrestleMania of all things for. You know, I mean, this is the best pay-per-view of the year, and you want to take a couple of petty matches like those and throw them out there? I mean, we need something better than that. AJ Styles deserves better than that for WrestleMania.
Chris, if you're not happy with the way Roman Reigns uses that punch, you should talk to Michael Hayes. He's the one producing Roman Reigns' matches.
No, I'm going to tell you something about Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is an asshole. I met Michael Hayes on a plane one day. Now, I'm in a wheelchair, and I had asked him, I said, hey, I have to wait for my wheelchair. Would it be cool if I took a picture with you? He's like, sure. He's like, I'll wait, after I get off the plane, I'll wait in the area, so when you come out, I'll take a picture with you. I got out there, he was nowhere to be found.
Oh, that's low.
Yeah. He's, in my eyes, he's an asshole, along with guys like Chris Jericho.
They say never meet your heroes.
Well, Chris Jericho,
don't I know that? Don't I know
Chris
that
Jericho. Well, that's like I met X-Pac, and I'm sure if anybody that does the promo wrestling has seen anything in CPW last year, I cut a promo with X-Pac, and even he was a nice guy. Shot the shit for like a half hour, and then I found out he was kind of a dick afterwards too.
Everybody's kind of a dick every now and then.
Let's
I haven't heard much about
the wrestlers you're talking about came up in the era and had to be they kind of had to be dicks in real life and on television.
Right.
Like, so I mean, that's just who they are. That's all they know. That's all they know. Like Michael Hayes with the fanny pack. They're gonna bury that man in that fucking fanny pack. That's all the man knows.
That and his hair.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who was really cool though. It was here in Panama City a couple of years ago. They had a little small Comic Con thing come through, and they had Hacksaw Jim Duggan, they had Lita, and they had Kevin Nash here, and I got to meet all three of them. I didn't get a picture with Hacksaw Jim Duggan because he wasn't there at the time, but I did get to go back and get an autograph picture from him in one of those little 2x4 things he does. But I talked with him for like 15 minutes. But there was no line there at the time. It was a slow time thing there, and I talked to him for like 15 minutes. He was really cool. Lita herself was pretty nice. She was cool as far as the picture goes because the guy that was taking the picture with my cell phone, he would hold it up and he'd take a picture and she would look at it. He said, no, let's do it again. So he took the second picture, and she says, no, just give me the phone. So she takes the phone and holds it out and takes like 3 selfies. And Rob is just super jealous, Ray. If you ever listen to him, Rob is uber jealous over that, too.
Yeah.
He always brings it up. But she was really nice, though. All right? She didn't give any kind of trouble or grief. She didn't throw a fit because she didn't like this picture. She had joked and laughed about it. And the way I looked at it was I got a couple extra pictures out of it. That was kind of cool. Kevin Nash, however, did not say a word. He didn't even look at the people you picked out a picture, he took it, he signed it, he handed it to you. If you wanted a picture, you got the picture. He didn't say, hey, hello, kiss my foot, anything. You got up, you walked off, and that was it. Then they did the little panel later on where they get to talk and tell stories. Now, he was funny when he tells his stories, but he's not very personal with the fans, though. Like the others
he's all about that. He's all about that money.
Yeah.
No, I heard he's hit or miss. I also heard great stories about him, how he was great, he met people, but he's very temperamental. The person I think out of all the three, like him, X-Pac, and Scott Hall, from what I hear, is always consistent, except for when he drinks, obviously, and I'm not being rude, but he's a consistent guy, and X-Pac is a fairly consistent guy. I haven't had one good wrestling experience in my life with wrestlers. I don't know what it is. I must have the something going on, but I haven't. I've been yelled at by Bam Bam Bigelow, Ric Flair charged me $300.
Wait a minute, hold on. Really, Bam Bam Bigelow, 13 years old. I met him at the Franklin Mills Mall in Philadelphia. I had heard he was going to be there. I had the flyer. I didn't. Like I said, I was 13 years old. I did not know that they were charging for autographs. And I went up, and the lady said it was this much, and I was like, well, I didn't know. I didn't know he was charging. She's like, I'm sorry, you can't meet him. And Bam Bam Bigelow was like, no, come over here. And he turned around, he talked to me for about 5-10 minutes, signed the flyer for me with no big deal, and didn't even charge me.
I've never heard anything bad about him either.
Well, let me tell you the story. So I'm working at Best Buy, and I heard that Perry Saturn, who was my favorite at the time, was going to be, it was him and Bam Bam in town for WCW. They were doing free signings at Tower Records. That's how long ago it was. So I go up there in uniform. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get Bam Bam. So I got both of their signatures. Perry Saturn didn't say 2 words. He wasn't rude. He just was quiet. Bam Bam was sitting there living it up. There was these girls giving him drinks and stuff, and he's like flirting with them. And all I said was, gentlemen, I just want to thank you for your work in ECW. And he was like, we didn't get paid. I'm like, excuse me? He's like, we didn't get paid. I said, well, I'm sure it was a double-edged sword. He's like, no, it was more like, single-edged sword. And he was like, and then he just admonished me. And I was like, really? Okay, goodbye. And I left. And I felt like going back in. I felt like going back in and saying, you are in WCW, you motherfucker. Like, before ECW and you're in Japan, that's all well and good. But before that, all you were known as was, the guy who lost to LT at WrestleMania. Other than that, you're here in WCW.
Or the guy that Dana Wayne had kicked in the face.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, exactly. I am, at that point, like 120 pounds soaking wet, wearing a Best Buy uniform. I would kill to be where you are, and here you are complaining. I don't even want to hear your fucking mouth, man.
But you knew that he would rip you in half and drink your blood.
So
I don't give a shit. Come with it.
So see,
I don't care. I don't care about that. I don't give a shit about that.
You got two problems here, Chuck. You got two problems.
What?
One, you look like one of the Geek Squad, peons that no one likes when you're wearing that uniform. Secondly, you come in and you bring up the fact that he was an ECW where a lot of people didn't get paid. I'm sure he's probably kind of sore about it. Some of them took it a little bit easier because Paul Heyman knows how to talk to people. He knows how to smooth things over,
I don't care. I'm thanking you for your work. I don't give a fuck about ECW
I didn't get
and
paid.
what they did. Okay, that's one. That's one. Wait, that's one.
Bam Bam
Two,
Bigelow putting Taz through that walkway in ECW was probably one of the most iconic things to ever happen in ECW.
No shit. And you know what? And they wouldn't have. And if he wasn't in ECW, he may not have gotten into WCW. So my thing also, I want to say one more thing there, Chris. You cannot work the muscles that are called your balls. So if I put them right in between that, you're gonna fall down, and then you have to run after me. And I'm telling you what, when I'm scared, you're not catching me. Bullets aren't catching me, and I'm running across water like Jesus. I don't care. You ain't catching me. So fuck Bam Bam Bigelow.
So I tell you who else was cool. Rocky Johnson. I met Rocky Johnson in Pensacola several years ago, the first Comic Con I went to there, and I met Lance Russell, an announcer. I would have met Teddy Long, but he was away from his table for a minute because they were having a wrestling show there that day, and he was helping some of the guys with that. And I had just missed him by 10 minutes, they said, which really sucked too, because he's a great guy. When we had him on the show, he was really cool. He'll talk with you on Facebook every so often if you catch him on there for a little bit. A really cool guy. I do like Teddy Long. I thought he was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Another good one was Ron Simmons and the $1 Million Man. They're really nice too. Actually, the $1 Million Man is now a pastor or a reverend or something.
Yeah, he's a $1 million preacher.
Yeah, but they're really nice guys as well. I actually met them when I met X-Pac. Although X-Pac, like I said, with me being in the chair, X-Pac seen me and he said, "Hey, you know what? Take a picture with me." He's like, "It's on me." He's like, "I'm not charging you." And my wheels on my chair, that was the problem. My wheels on my chair were getting really bald and my insurance wouldn't pay for it. So X-Pac said, "Hit me up on Twitter. I'll see what I can do about getting you a new chair." And I would remind him, and he blew me off like he didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow. That sucks.
And I even showed him the picture of him and I, just to remind him. But, yeah.
So, not to get too far with the subject here, but what did you guys think about SmackDown this past week? The way they immediately started off getting the fans all riled up with Bray Wyatt winning the belt by having him a match against John Cena the very following week there, just a few days later, and then having AJ Styles back in a three-way match.
I thought it was great because, as a matter of fact, it's John Cena that wanted Bray Wyatt to have that belt. He was the one that pushed for it. And he deserves it. He really does. He really does deserve it, especially since the Harper and Rowan were the only ones to win gold in NXT, and Wyatt never did. He deserved it.
Am I the only one who wants to see Harper have a push? Am I the only one? I mean, nobody else seems to talk about Luke Harper that much, but I mean, I'd love to see him get a nice push.
He got the.
Go
ahead.
No, I like Harper. I'm always going to like Harper. I really do. But he doesn't have that it factor, man. He just doesn't. He just doesn't. He's a great worker, but I don't want to hear him talk. I don't give a shit about what he has to say. because he just doesn't have it on the mic. And if he widens his eyes one more fucking time, I think I'm going to bash him in the fucking head. I swear to God. I really hate that whole.
You're really
like,
violent
wide-eyed.
tonight, Chuck. You're very violent tonight.
I know, because I'm retaining water like a pregnant woman. I can't stand it.
You need to take a Lasik and drink a wine cooler.
What, a Zima? Something different? Shut up.
You got to go to Canada and get one of those, don't you? They don't sell them here anymore.
Leave me alone, Bartles and James.
Well, here's the thing with Luke Harper. Luke Harper did start getting a push. He got the Intercontinental Championship, but he held it for a month. Now
I
that's
think he
the
hurt
problem.
He hurt his knee too, right?
No, that was Eric Rowan that actually. Yeah, no, he did hurt his knee. That's
Harper,
right.
yeah,
It was
Harper
his ACL, I think.
Right. I don't know.
And,
were they going to do something with the Wyatt family in general at that time when he won that Intercontinental title? Wasn't the Wyatt family going to get a bit of a push on Raw at that time? But when he hurt himself, that took them out of the mix.
I think that's when they started to split the family up. When Rowan and Harper like kind of did their own thing and everything like that. When they tried to push Eric Rowan as a good guy, when he came out with that really weird music and he was playing with the Rubik's Cube and everything like that. And it didn't pan out well.
They put them back together, though, right?
Yeah, they put them back together, but then next thing you know, Rowan gets injured. I think he tore his rotator cuff. And there's actually talks of him coming back. He actually got cleared by the Performance Center, and they're talking about putting him on SmackDown.
So, like, all the Wyatt family there in different ways.
You know what? This is my thing. This is my thing about the Wyatt family. First of all, I think they should stay the way they are. I told them my idea for Eric Rowan. They should actually make him where he's like more like a gentleman, where he has his hair trimmed to a, so he looks nice. He's wearing nice clothes and he comes off articulate. I just think it would be better than the monster because he's getting lost in that. Nobody gives a shit. I don't give a shit about that. It would be great for me, the perfect Wyatt family, to be quite honest, as much as I hate him. Baron Cardboard and what's his name? And Bo Dallas. I think that would be a great Wyatt family with Bray Wyatt. I think that would be an amazing one.
I wonder if they're going to do something along those lines with Bo Dallas, because if you've noticed on Raw, he's got the beard growing.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that. And he looked a little bit better than before, too.
Yeah, I would love it. He could wrestle. He can wrestle his ass off. He's a great worker. He's got that mean streak. I really like it. He's in limbo right now, and it would be perfect. And it would make the most sense to have him with his brother. It would just make the most sense.
Well, speaking of, I noticed you mentioned Baron in your terms, Cardboard.
Yeah, I can't stand it.
I'm actually big on Baron Corbin. He's got right attitude. He's got the right attitude for a heel. He's got moves in the ring.
Yeah, he's all right.
I agree with him. I agree with him. Yeah, you guys know what I say about it. I thought that man looked strong last week too. I like that.
I think it's going to be great putting him against Dean Ambrose.
Yes.
You know what though? I think he would. I will say this. I think he'll be a better Intercontinental Champion than Ambrose. Ambrose does nothing with belts. Either they don't allow him or he gets lazy with it. Doesn't matter. But the thing about Baron Corbin is, he just looks mildly irritated. That's what I don't like about the kid, and he can't talk to save his life. So if he can have some kind of spark, I don't deny that he's not a bad wrestler in the ring. I love some of his stuff. He moves very quickly for a big guy, very very quickly, and he's got a decent look. But the thing about him.
Have you seen him on Talking Smack?
No.
He's very articulate on Talking Smack.
He can talk.
Okay, then how come he didn't do that he should have done that on commentary. He was on commentary.
Script.
It doesn't matter. He should have worked it. It doesn't matter. He should have at least been. I don't even think he had the headphones on. He didn't have headphones on. He just was hanging out. He was like,
he's not at the level of his career yet where he can tell them, where he can kind of go off script on his own.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
On Talking Smack, yeah, I mean, that's just a little 2-minute segment. But on a pay-per-view, just let him just free reign talk. I don't think he can go off script just yet. But the man is very articulate. He can talk. He's got intensity. He's actually got a personality when he's on Talking Smack. So.
And you look at him,
what I'm saying.
the only time he's been pinned since he's been up on the main roster is when he wrestled Cena, okay, and when he got pinned in the Elimination Chamber. He's virtually undefeated on SmackDown.
Yes, but here's the problem that they did, and I cannot stand, and I still, to this day, great match, still didn't make sense, the feud. First of all, you have him looking strong against Ziggler. Then
did he lose to Ziggler one time?
I think it was by disqualification.
Yeah, I don't think he got pinned by Ziggler. I really don't.
Okay.
So anyway, my thing is, then they put him in a feud with Kalisto. And and Kalisto looked better in that match than any of the Dolph Zigglers did. And that was a great match.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, that chairs match was one of the best matches of that pay-per-view.
No, and that's right. You're absolutely correct. It was, but it still didn't make sense why it was Corbin and why it was Kalisto. That was a big man that should not have had that kind of match with Kalisto. I don't care what anybody says. If you're going to make him strong, you don't make him strong against Ziggler and then turn around and make him look like Kalisto is on par with him. More than once. It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, but it's the Rey Mysterio syndrome all over again with Kalisto.
Yeah, yes and no, because he's not. But what I'm saying is, he's not dominant after that. He wasn't dominant before that. He wasn't dominant after that. Even when he was United States champion, he wasn't really that. You know what I mean? Like I understand he got it all. I don't know. I just think if you're pushing a monster heel, you don't put him against Kalisto and have Kalisto look on par with him. I'm sorry. I'm saying if you have a push like that,
but in the end, I think the aspect they're going for is with Kalisto. Who did he beat for that U.S. title? He beat Rusev.
Yeah, I get it. It's not that I don't get it.
You put him in a feud with a guy who beat somebody like Rusev. You put him in a feud with him, but ultimately having Corbin come out the winner in that feud. I think that's the route that they were going with that.
Yeah, I get it, but by the same token, I don't. My thing again. That's like the thing they were doing with Braun Strowman and we talked about that earlier. Braun Strowman and Sami Zayn. Who, I'm sorry, put the mask back on that kid, man. Put the mask back on. Oh my God. Give us Generico back, please. Please, because I can't stand Sami Zayn. He's like fun and he's ska and he's boring and I don't care.
Yeah, he looks like the guy that's working at the Auntie Annie's pretzel place in the mall.
Yeah, exactly. He's
the manager. Like, what are you doing in the ring? You know?
Yeah, he's the manager.
I mean, Eric Young is more intimidating than Sami Zayn.
I love
not for nothing.
Dude, I love him.
That's sanity. That sanity
I love his
thing is
pretzel
kind of
too.
all over the place.
It is. It is very much so. You know, we got to jump on this here before we forget about it. We got like 15 minutes left, so we're going to jump on it eventually here. But we've already kind of covered Raw and SmackDown for the most part. The other part we were going to do in the show tonight was about the passing of the legends here for the past couple of weeks. We've had, of course, the biggest one to me was the Russian Bear Ivan Koloff, and I told Chuck about this earlier in the week. The reason why it's such a big deal to me is because he didn't make it long enough to see himself make it into the WWE Hall of Fame. Whether he would have went for sure or not because of all those lawsuits he's a part of and everything, who knows? But I would have loved to have seen him been able to give an acceptance speech in front of his fans, at least knowing that he made it into something like that. Because you've got so many people that I can't believe that are in there ahead of him. It just blows my mind. And I know it's a whole WWE thing.
You mean people like Coco Beware who have no right being in there?
I mean, Coco Beware, I get why he's there because he had a career before WWE. He had a career elsewhere.
I used to believe that and say the same thing. But then I went back and watched WrestleMania 7, and it was a show that one guy and Bruce Prichard does, and they just go back and talk about behind the scenes and all that stuff about what happened in the rest different shows or different times or whatever. And they got the Coco Beware, and they was talking about him like being in the Hall of Fame and stuff. And they, I thought like everybody else, Coco Beware. But the dude, if you go back and watch his matches, the dude actually worked. Like he can actually go in the ring, and his character back in that time, his character was over. Like I was at that time. I remember the Coco Beware. I seen people who had the birds you get at the carnival, and they would put them on their arm and pretend they was Frankie. At least my friends did. And
well, yeah, but you look at Coco as well. He was also part of one of the most iconic Survivor Series ever. And that was the one The Undertaker showed up. As a matter of fact, Coco Beware was the first one to get pinned by The Undertaker. If you look back at that.
In the Hall of Fame, nothing will.
Not only that, but if it wasn't for him, we would have never got to really fully. I mean, I understand he's a Hart, and I understand we would have come across him eventually. But Owen Hart, Coco Beware with high voltage, or what was it, high velocity?
Yeah.
Okay. They were a great tag team, in my opinion. But then you still got guys like Demolition who's not in there. And I understand, the whole lawsuit crap that's going on, okay? But then you got guys like Owen Hart. You got guys, if Owen Hart would have never died, Owen Hart would have been a multi-time world heavyweight champion, okay? You got guys like the British Bulldog.
Owen Hart, British, they will all get in. But it's like the thing, like we had this discussion last year, like with so many of them passing away, it's kind of hard to put, like, all these guys you're mentioning are like, they're passed away. So you don't want to have a Hall of Fame with like 6 people going in, 4 of them are passed away. Like it's supposed to be a celebration, but it starts to get a little bit morbid. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but if you're going to have
they're
a Hall
going to get
Fame,
in, but you don't want to put 5 dead guys in the Hall of Fame at one time. I don't mean it the way it sounds, but you know what I'm saying.
No, I understand that. I think they should have a manager. I think they should have one that is passed. I think they should have one that's alive. You know what I mean? I think that they should have a different category in terms, a tag team or this or that. But, if you're going to have a Hall of Fame, you have to do it. Like, you look at the NFL, okay? You got guys. You're not going to have your just random guy that, like, you're not going to get a Chad Pennington in the Hall of Fame. No, you're not. You're going to get elite players in the Hall of Fame, and that's what the WWE Hall of Fame should be. It should be the elite, the best of the best. Not because you had a great gimmick that everybody followed. No, I can understand why the Bushwhackers went in. They may not have won WWE Gold, but they have 23 World Tag Team Championship or 30 World Tag Team Championships all over the world.
Here's the difference between wrestling and football. You can go back and look at stats, like actual stats that actually happen and say, oh yeah, that's Hall of Fame, this Hall of Fame. Or look at a record they broke or something like that. With wrestling, you can do that too, but you can also look at it like, you know what? This guy never won a title. He was never World Heavyweight Champion, but damn it, that guy deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Jake the Snake Roberts, Kurt Hennig. He never won it, not in WWE anyway, never won a world title.
Right.
They're in the Hall of Fame. So you can't just say, oh, look at the Football Hall of Fame, because they go on strictly numbers. That's what get them in the Hall of Fame. It's more than just numbers with wrestling.
Not to mention that wrestling is not just wrestling is about entertainment.
Right.
Gorgeous George was a character. Now, yeah, he was a champion, don't get me wrong, but if he wasn't a champion, then he would have been like George Animal Steel. George Animal Steel is a great wrestler who never really had championships. So does he not go out? I mean, he was one of the heels that was like incredible, and plus a face. What I'm saying is, there's an entertainment factor that's wrestling. We have to understand that this isn't real. This is quote unquote kayfabe. And in wrestling, there's a blurred line between entertainment and quote unquote like work shoot, whatever you want to call it. Guys who look like it's gonna like they can whoop your ass. You know what I mean? So where do you draw the line?
Jericho said it best. He said, when you think about Hall of Fame, Wrestling Hall of Fame, it's about the guys who have made everlasting memories, who did. If you look at him, you can remember what match he was in, what title he won, who he feuded with, company he was with, whatever in their career, you can go back and look at a whole lot of points. These guys make memories. They bust their ass. They entertain you. The Hall of Fame is nothing but a celebration of that fact.
If that's the case, Ivan Koloff is the one person that took the belt off of Bruno Sammartino. Even if he was a transitional champ to get his Pedro Morales, he's still the guy that beat Bruno. Mm-hmm. Instead of Ivan Koloff being in there, you had Tito Santana, who did what that was memorable. Really, he was the Intercontinental Champion, but I mean, he's not memorable.
Charge us $200 for 30 minutes.
One who tried to do that and got turned down. And then you got Nikolai Volkov in there. What did he do that is stand out and memorable?
Again, at those times, especially like where I live at, we got a mixture of everything. Like we got NWA and we got WWF. We got Florida Championship Wrestling. Sometimes we got a mix of everything. But like I said, at that time when it was Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, man, you remember those matches. You remember how people just hated them when they tried to sing that their national anthem, just throwing all kind of garbage in the way.
Right, but they're not really memorable though. I mean, that was more annoying than memorable. Let me ask you guys this: as far as the Hall of Fame goes, right now you've got so far, Kurt Angle, the Rock and Roll Express, and Teddy Long so far.
Yes,
I had this debate the other day with somebody. Who opened the door, or in your opinion, who opens the door for the older tag teams now to really get in? Was it the Freebirds getting in last year, or is it the Rock and Roll Express getting in this year? Because Michael Hayes has been with the company for so long, as far as, being with the WWE, I think it's one of the reasons why they put him in. They were in the WWE for like a hot minute, and that was it.
I'm going to have to say the Four Horsemen.
No.
Even though they're a faction.
No,
faction.
The Four Horsemen transcend tag team wrestling.
It was just a matter of time, when. If Ric Flair had actually retired the first time he said he was going to retire, the Four Horsemen would have been in there long ago.
Yeah, you're right. But if we're talking about faction, when we're talking about tag team, I will give it to you. I'm going to go with Freebirds. And the reason why is because that they were specifically tag team champions. Now, listen, everybody says, well, they were in the WWF for a hot minute. Yes, you're right. But because the WWE now owns World Class, NWA, AWA, all of them except for maybe Universal, that's all encompassing. So you WWE, it's all the umbrella. We're going to bring them in. So that's what I'm saying. You're going to see guys like Rock and Roll Express. Rock and Roll Express. When were they in the WWF? Like they were in it for a hot minute.
Like a hot minute.
There. Yeah.
Like the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Invasion.
But you want to talk about older tag teams? There were still the Bushwhackers that went in before the Freebirds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was never really a Bushwhacker fan. They were more of a comedy tag team, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Outside of the WWF. Okay,
well,
I'll say
a lot of people
WWF
didn't know them
when they were in there was that.
The thing is, he said who opens the door for more tag teams to come in, and if that's where we're going, if that's the question, I'm going with Rock and Roll Express. All those other teams, maybe not the Bushwhackers so much, but you knew it was a matter of time for the Freebirds got in. You knew, you knew it was a matter of time for these certain people got in. When it came to Rock and Roll Express, it was always they should be, but we don't know if Vince is going to put them in there. So we never, it was always that. They should be, but it ain't gonna happen.
No,
and you may misunderstand what I'm saying, though. You may misunderstand my whole question. I mean, I don't necessarily mean just to get tag teams in. I mean, who is it that opens the door to get the people in? Well, I guess whether it's just a tag, the older generation. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. You got the fantastic,
new generation, the original eras, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got of course, you had the tag teams like the Andersons. There's not the Four Horsemen, but just the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. You've got
or
the
you want to call them the Brain Busters, or if you call them the Brain Busters, you also got
he's talking he's talking the Lars and Gene Anderson.
You could have Lars and Gene, or you could have Ole and Gene, you could have Ole and Arn. I'm talking just the Andersons in general, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew.
But then you also look
the
at
family,
this.
Basically.
But then you look at this. You got Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, who is under a Legends contract. When is he going to get his time to shine? When is he going to go in with Brett?
And I agree,
the
Hart Foundation should
when
be
are you going to get the British? Same with the British Bulldogs.
Yes.
They should be in.
They should
Dynamite
be
Kid
in.
will never be in as long as he lives.
As long again, I don't mean this the way it sounds, but and it's kind of like, I don't want to say they're doing it, but it's kind of like they're waiting for him to pass on as well. So
well, you know they're waiting for him to die, right? You know they're waiting for him to die because they don't want to have to. He's a hateful piece of shit human being.
Yeah, he's going to shit on the whole thing, and I don't think they want that negativity around anything.
Well, it would be as negative as Mr. T was positive, talking about his mama making me want to barf all over the place.
Dude, well, listen to me. 2 seconds. Here's the thing, and that's funny. Cause
your 2 seconds is up. Shut up.
Yeah, okay, 2 minutes. Take a ball and suck it. Anyway, here's the thing. You had the Road Warriors. They came in, correct? They came in, and I think they're the ones that ushered the tag team, because I can't remember anybody before that. The Road Warriors that was huge. That was huge. You're talking about, what people consider the greatest tag team, at least I do. So my thing is, I lost my point. Go ahead. Mike fucked me up. Go ahead. Asshole.
I know what you're getting at, though. What you're getting at, though,
shit.
you're saying the Road Warriors started the whole tag team division, but that's not really quite what I'm saying. The Road Warriors were also big. They were also big in the WWE, and Vince is big on the Road Warriors. That's why he wants them in there, because it's a big selling point.
I think what
the Rock
Mike
and Roll
is saying
Express
is
over the years hasn't been a selling point for Vince.
Right. I think what Mike's saying is those teams that weren't those
want to become an ungrateful asshole either, but.
Well, I think what Mike's saying is he wants to know what teams that were the grand marquee teams, like teams like the Road Warriors, you know what I mean? That weren't those giant name teams that were exactly a fixture. Rock and Roll Express, a lot of people know them, but a lot of people didn't. They didn't have the name like the Freebirds. They didn't have the name like the Legion of Doom or the Bushwhackers, you know what I mean?
I think the Rockers should be in the Hall of Fame.
You got the Rockers, you got the Midnight Express, you got the Rock and Roll Express, you got the Fantastics, you've got the Steiner Brothers, you've got, I don't know about Doom.
That's another one. Why aren't they in?
Hey, put the Killer Bees in there. Fuck. Shit.
Killer Bees. They should be in there. They're the big thing in the WWF back in the day. They were a popular tag team there. They should be in there.
I'm not even mad if they put the Rougeau brothers in there.
The Rougeau brothers, that's another one. But now, if you want to talk about people that are not in there that should be in there, if you don't mind, I want to transition to singles guys. You got guys that may not have won all the World Heavyweight Championships in the world, but they may have won.
See how easy it is for us to just name off 15 to 25 people?
That's a ton of
right, but one guy that comes to mind right off the bat is William Regal. That man deserves it.
Absolutely.
He's going. Don't worry about it. He's going. But like I said, the fact that we can sit here and name off 15 to 25 people so quick is why I say you can only put 5 or 6 people in every year. So these people we naming will go in. It's just they all can't go in.
It's just a matter of time.
Well, my question is this: there's already there's already WCW guys that are going in. You know what I mean? Sting, Diamond Dallas Page. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Diamond Dallas Page got leaked that he was going into the Hall of Fame this year as well, but they haven't actually announced it on television.
Along with Rick Rude.
Along with Rick Rude, yes.
He was previously announced, but not confirmed yet.
Correct. So you got guys like that.
Wait till tomorrow morning. It'll leak somebody's going in tomorrow.
But you're getting guys that realistically that are going in the WWF, the WWE Hall of Fame, that were never in there. Nick Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel never even touched WWE, WWF.
They own AWA. Yeah. They own World Class. They own USWA. They own.
Once they bought all that stuff, they became whatever you want to know about wrestling, mainstream and beyond.
Right, and that's where I'm getting at. That's where I'm getting at. So when they, and you know what, and I will always be big on it, and I don't know if it's because I'm from Jersey and I live an hour from it, but when are you going to start inducting guys from ECW? Because ECW in the late 90s changed the landscape of wrestling. And I feel that if it wasn't for ECW, WWE would have never even had the hardcore division. ECW
was the invention of Kick Out at 2. That's
Correct.
That's what I know them for. The invention of kick out at 2.
So when do you induct guys like Rob Van Dam? When do you induct guys like Tommy Dreamer and Sandman?
I'm going to play a portion of the IWC right now. Why they got to go in? There's a whole bunch of other people that deserve to go in before them. See how hard that decision is to make?
Right.
Yeah, like KJ said. KJ was coughing.
It's going to be a problem.
KJ was coughing the name of Bruiser Brody. I'll go up and say Ray the Crippler Stevens should go in.
Absolutely.
Because Ray Stevens,
are you kidding me?
Williams should go in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One-man gang. He should be in there. You know what I mean? The list goes on and on and on. The WWE has dropped the ball, but he has a point about ECW. He has a huge point. And ECW has been enveloped into WWF as long as it's in WCW.
I'm not going to say they dropped the ball because KJ, Chris, Mike, y'all all know we on the that's what we do. We're on the internet for podcast reasons or whatever reasons we have. But no matter who if you could say they dropped the ball with some people they put in, but if you take them people out and put the person that you individually thought should have their spot, there's going to be 1,000 more people telling you 1,000 different more names that should go in over the person you said.
Yeah, absolutely. See, this is the problem with the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame. There is a legitimate, like, all enveloping pro wrestling Hall of Fame. It's obviously not.
The only way of solving that issue is adding more people. Like instead of putting 6 people in, you put 12 people in. And then you know what's going to happen? These are people that like, the Hall of Fame is 3 hours. I'm not going to sit through this.
Hey,
what they would do is they would just induct a lot of the posthumously people that, you know, like the Ray Stevens, the people that have been passed away for a long time, the Bruiser Brody. They wouldn't have a ceremony. It'd be like the award shows when they go to commercial break, they'll tell you. And earlier today, this person, you know how they say earlier today, this person received an award for this. Well, earlier we inducted this person, and it'll just
right. And then you also get into a point that and like I was saying with ECW has become so synonymous that you catch a glimpse of anybody that even had anything to do with ECW, the chants come. The holy shit chant came from ECW.
But see, that's
the
problem.
This is awesome. They're all a lot of stuff nowadays has stemmed from ECW.
Oh, easily.
That's part of the problem too, Ray. That's part of the problem too, is that the WWE has been moving itself away from that. They don't want that anymore.
But you know the Dudleys are going to get in. You know Heyman either sometime.
Yeah, I mean eventually it's going to come. Heyman's coming in. The Dudleys are coming in. I don't see Stevie Richards going in anytime. I don't see the Blue Meanie going in anytime.
No. Oh, fuck the Blue Meanie. But anyway,
franchise isn't going to go in anytime. Even
though franchise ain't going in ever.
Even though he's probably the one thing that but any real wrestling fan, when they think of ECW, they think of that moment that Shane Douglas took the NWA title and threw it down and said, fuck this isn't my title. Hashtag not my title.
Right, and then you turn, but then you want to talk about guys going in, okay? You want to talk about gimmicks going in. Why the gimmick? Why not the guy behind it? Everything is so kayfabe now that you can look and everybody more or less knows, wrestlers' real names. So why turn around and send Charles Wright in?
With those older wrestlers, it wasn't so much gimmick. It was a gimmick, but it was
right. But why send Scott Hall in as Razor Ramon?
I was just about to say that.
Why send Kevin Nash in as? Yeah, they called him Big. They sent him in as Kevin Nash, but they sent Scott Hall in. Or no, I'm sorry, they sent him in as Diesel. But Diesel
wait a minute.
the longest reigning champ.
Why send R. Anderson and that's R. Anderson? That's not his real name.
They listen to me. Number one, nobody's going to show up for whatever Arn Anderson's real name is. Like, come on. They're going to do it they're going to do it with their name. Now, Diesel or Kevin Nash and Scott Hall had a choice on how they want to be put in. And Scott Hall chose Razor Ramon.
Right, but you look at Diesel or Kevin Nash. Yes, he was the longest reigning world heavyweight champion of the '90s. Okay, I get that. Okay, but he is more. Kevin Nash is more synonymous, and I feel Scott Hall is more synonymous. I'm 33 years old. Okay, I've been watching wrestling a long time, and out of those two wrestlers, what sticks out in my mind the biggest when they showed up. March whatever it was, 1996, and shit all over the place with the NWO and ran Rickshaw.
But like KJ said, they had a choice, and if they didn't want to go in as Razor Ramon or Scott Hall or whatever choice they had, then that's what we got.
I'll tell you why.
I'll
tell you why they go in as why they go in as Big Daddy Cool and Razor Ramon. They go in as that, so later on they go back in as the NWO as a group with Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, the Macho Man, the Works. That's why you do it that way. You get in twice. That's why Ric Flair is in as an individual. Ric Flair is in as a Four Horseman.
Ric Flair didn't change his name though. So.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. But you know what? The whole ECW thing you bring up, it kind of reminds me of something else. It's like ECW. Not that it was a super small territory or anything like that. I mean, they had small arenas that they went into and bingo halls and stuff like that. It reminds me of just territory periods, in general. Like, I grew up, I'm 43 years old, so I got you by 10 years, right? And I watched Memphis growing up. And during that time frame in the 80s, Memphis was the hotbed of professional wrestling at the time. It's a small territory.
You had Jerry Lawler out there. You had a lot of guys. You also had Smoky Mountain out there, too.
Right. Well, Smoky Mountain came back after it was USWA in the late 80s, almost early 90s. But in the early 80s, you had this Memphis, you had Lawler, you had Bill Dundee, Dutch Mantell. All the names that got big in WWF had started in the Memphis area and the Texas area, too, with Fritz Von Erich. So they all came through there at one point. Right. The Freebirds come through there. You get Bam Bam Bigelow. The Undertaker was not Mean Mark Callis. He was Texas Red and the Von Erichs, and he was the...
he didn't become Mean Mark Callis until he took over for Psycho Sid with the Skyscrapers, which ironically those two face off at WrestleMania 13, which not many people realize that those one took over for the other one, and then all of a sudden they ended up having a meeting of the minds, so to speak, at WrestleMania.
Chris, you only got Thoroughbred about 4 years, so I was right there with you.
And the thing is, here's another comparison to ECW. Tommy Dreamer was a big staple in ECW. Am I wrong? Tommy Dreamer.
Absolutely.
Everyone loved Dreamer in ECW. A lot of people loved Bill Dundee in the Memphis wrestling. He was strictly a Memphis guy for the most part. He went to Bill Watts Mid-South Territory as a part of a 6-month trade of talent and helped him bring that Mid-South wrestling back up with the smaller people. That's how he helped bring the Rock and Roll Express up by taking them there and getting Bill Watts to put his faith in them and let them run through, showing how the smaller guys could run too. But then he always came back to Memphis and spent his time in Memphis, just like Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert did a lot. He went to UWF, Bill Watts territory, for a bit, briefly in WCW, but most of his time was in Memphis for a lot of the times in those years. But you won't see a Bill Dundee or Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, most likely not, make the WWE Hall of Fame. It makes me think Tommy Dreamer's a leader sometimes.
Ironically, he spent his last years, Eddie Gilbert, where? Where did he spend his last years of his life?
The last 10 years I remember was GWF. That's the last time I remember seeing Eddie Gilbert.
ECW. He was in Eastern Championship Wrestling before it moved over to ECW. Now, ECW is... Yes, ECW... Yeah, ECW was the last big territory, if you think about it. It was the last big territory. It had territories mainly in Philadelphia and New York, even though they'll tell you that New York, the Hammerstein ballroom is ECW arena, which is bullshit. There's only one ECW arena.
Right, and that only became the ECW arena when Spike TV and TNT gained rights to televising ECW.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is there's only one. And I've been there many times. So here's the thing. The question remains, who do you first of all, the Hall of Fame should be for the fans and no one else. I don't give a fuck about the politics and all that other
Right.
stuff. It should be about the fans. That should be something you give to the fans. Not everything you have to do that has to do with money and getting merchandise and getting them in the building and all that other bullshit. It should be give us the Hall of Fame. Give us that.
Right.
That's
Give it to you. Not only that. Not only that. But give us the
I think it should
building.
be about the fans. I think it should be about the fans, but more so, like I said, like Chris Joseph said, these people entertain you. Let's celebrate the fact that they gave you childhood memories. They gave you some type of. They made you love. Either made you love wrestling, they made you love it more, or whatever.
Well, not only that, but
them.
give us the actual. Give us a location. Give us a location that we can go to see all this stuff first class. Let's us go to a place where we can see Mankind's Mask or the Smoking Skull belt or the original World Heavyweight Championship belt. Give us a place like they have all these other Hall of Fame. It's about time.
They're working on that, but like wrestling is so. There's no territories no more. Like the whole thing for years was where to put it. Put it in New York. Put it in Florida. Put it where? But I think they're going to put it in Florida. It's supposed to be like right across from the
NXT place.
Yeah.
Do you guys think we'll see an announcer go in anytime soon?
We've already seen announcers go in. Lawler
No, I said, do you think we'll see another
currently.
announcer go in anytime soon? I know we had some go in, but will we see any others go in anytime soon?
I give it within the next 3 years. Michael Cole's going to go in.
Nah.
Dude,
Michael Cole's not going in until he gets out, until he's finished doing it.
Yeah,
as long as he's sitting in that chair, he's going.
Michael Cole's been there for 20 years already.
I still think they should give it to Tony Schiavone.
He could be there for 20 more years and he won't go away. Yeah, I agree with Tony Schiavone. But Michael Cole could be there for another 20 years and still won't get in the Hall of Fame yet. He'll still be broadcasting. Probably.
Schiavone's a good pick, but he thinks that Vince McMahon blackballed him from getting into from getting anywhere to do with WWE because of him turning him down years ago from coming over there or something like that, or staying there or something.
It was something to stay there. Well, here's a question: Does anybody think that we all know that? Well, real quick before I say anything, Michael Cole is already going to be transitioning off of Raw. They're actually in talks with moving him to do more of a backstage role and an office role, so he's not on air anymore. So that's going to be the end of that.
It probably won't be no time soon.
It's supposed to be within this next year, which is one of the reasons why they fully brought Corey Graves up, which I feel Corey Graves was the last of the true NXT era.
They're going to leave Corey Graves and Byron Saxton? I doubt it. Nah.
No, they're actually talking about getting rid of Saxton. They're talking about possibly moving more over Ronaldo to Raw.
Dude, why is there four announcers? Why is there? Okay, there's 2 announcers. There's an intern, and there's David Otunga. Can somebody tell me what's going on with that? Can somebody please tell me what's going on with that?
Oh, they needed 2 announcers. 6,000. There's 6,000 announcers.
Well, they need 2 announcers. Somebody get the coffee, and they can never have enough lawyers. So Vince had to keep Otunga somewhere.
Exactly.
Right, and they needed to make sure they had coverage in case JBL trips and hurt himself again.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. He almost killed himself twice.
I'm a very biased person. I want to see Lance Russell get in because I grew up listening to him. Now, I don't know.
No.
He's not huge.
No, yes, absolutely.
He's not WWE huge. He did make WCW for about a year before he went back to Memphis again.
Doesn't matter.
I would love to see Lance Russell in there.
And you know what? Lance Russell's a tough individual.
92 years old now.
He's a tough individual. He didn't go get his wife to have a feud with Jimmy Hart and his wife when Jimmy dumped a whole bag of flour on him.
Yeah, man. That was, dude, I'm telling you. I want him as my grandfather. Like, he's awesome, dude. But he is the man, and he's excellent. That's like, and I know, tell me Gordon Soley's in the Hall of Fame. Tell me Gordon Soley's in the Hall of Fame.
Gordon Soley's in.
Okay, then I feel a little better about the world. I feel a little better about the world.
Here's my question, okay? Are they going to, there's 2 things with announcers, and we've all mentioned that, Paul Heyman's going to go into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of announcers, all right, Do you get guys like Mike Tenay in the Hall of Fame? I think Mike Tenay should go in.
Yeah, eventually Tenay will be in.
I think so. Yeah,
I think he will.
Even though Tenay never actually worked or stepped foot in a WWE office.
Yeah, because they own WCW.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of that, my next question is this. Does Eric Bischoff or Vince Russo ever touch the Hall of Fame?
Bischoff, yes. Russo,
Bischoff,
no.
yes. That's what I was
Bischoff,
listening exactly.
Yeah, no, listen. Never say never. We had two people who were never supposed to be in the Hall of Fame.
What?
I mean, think
Ultimate
about it.
Warrior,
Superstar,
and, Bruno Sammartino.
Superstar Billy Graham.
They were, and
That's another
Superstar
one.
Billy Graham. They were never supposed to be in the WWE again. Well, more Bruno. Bruno. It was
Well, there
more
was
Bruno.
also Savage. Savage, there was talks that he was
Savage,
never
too.
going to ever get into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Savage
And
would
look
never
at
go in as long as the rest of his family wouldn't go in. But when he passed away, I think Lanny Poffo kind of pushed to help get him in there since he was gone to do it for the fans more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well,
Randy Savage refused unless Angelo Poffo and Lanny Poffo went in with him, he said, when he was living.
Again, see, that's the whole
here's
thing.
a question.
Again, a lot of these people won't get in until, sad to say, after they're gone.
Speaking of Savage, do you get somebody like Miss Elizabeth in there, or is there still too much, to this day, controversy circulating her death?
I don't think it
that was
has anything to do about controversy of the death. It's just about timing. Is it really her time to go?
I think it is.
Why not?
If you put her in now, and there's some managers who are not in, you're gonna have a big uproar about why she did go in.
Yeah, but I think that she should go on because technically she was the first woman of wrestling. She really was.
Again,
so therefore, she has more than earned her place.
I will go to the greatest saying is, wrestling fans know what they want until you give it to them. Because as soon as you give them what they want, they find something to complain about. I'm telling you, no matter who you put in, when you put them in, there will always be people saying they should go in. Somebody should have been in before.
Right, but if you bring up to any wrestling fan and you sit there and say, out of any manager, any female manager, is there anybody, or any manager in general, is there anybody at this current state that should go in before Elizabeth?
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is, no matter if you can preach to whoever you want to about why they deserve to go in, there will be a group of people. As many people that say they should go in, there's going to be as many people saying
there will always be somebody unhappy. That's a given.
My whole thing is, instead of just wasting time saying, "Oh, this person should have went in before," why don't we just celebrate the people that are going in at the moment?
Right.
That's true.
But now here's another question.
And let's respect them by not saying, "Oh, somebody else." Let's debate about who should have went in before you. Let's just say thank you for what you did, and let's put you in next year. Let's see who gets to go in.
Well, here's another question. Here's a question for you, Ray. Is speaking of, and you've mentioned that there should be people that go in before others, and this is also revolving around too much controversy. Okay, do you feel that China and Chris Benoit will go in, or
China yes, Chris no?
China yes, Chris no. Like I said. It's all good. It's all good until you do something, and let's be real. You brought football in earlier. Baseball banned Pete Rose for life just for betting. Okay.
As a manager, not even as a player.
Whatever they banned the man. Okay.
Right.
Whatever position, whenever they banned him.
But that's because it's a cardinal rule. That's a cardinal rule. In baseball, you don't do that. It's a no-no. That's what
and a cardinal rule in life is you don't murder your wife and kids and yourself.
Yeah, but you know what? There's still too much. I still feel that Benoit
there's going to be a conspiracy theory around that man's death. And call me wrong. I don't care. That's my opinion. The people
which I respect.
For the most part, the people who are throwing this conspiracy theory out there are people who just don't want to believe that man did what he did. They are so in love with Chris Benoit, the wrestler, that they can't separate that from real life and say, you know what? Whether he got hit in the head with chair shots, for every person that got, and I don't mean to sound rude when I say this, for every person who has brain damage for getting hit in the head from chair shots, there are people who have no problems. So I
But
can't
there's
say
still
he did or he
there's
didn't.
still too much
All I can
evidence
say is
against the evidence.
there's you can throw a stack of murders against the wall and pick one that sticks.
The thing about it is, Ray,
Listen,
all right, go.
Listen. It doesn't matter what the conspiracy theories. It doesn't fucking matter. The bottom line is when you're talking about the Hall of Fame, they're not going to touch it because it's too controversial. Too controversial. They're not going to touch it with a 10-foot fucking.
But I will.
But they can say the same thing. They can say the same thing about China. You Google China.
Apples and oranges, dude.
Okay, Goat Fucker, can I talk now? Because that's literally what I put your name as on the board is Goat Fucker, by the way.
Anyhow. Oh, yeah. Actually, sheep fucker, asshole. I fuck sheep, not goats. Go ahead.
Well, all right. So, yeah. No. Anyway, Ray, I was just like you for a long time about not believing fully the ordeal with Chris Benoit. However, after really researching what CTE does to somebody, I have to say that he murdered his kid. He murdered his wife. He realized what he did, and he hung himself. That's what happened. Because when you have that, the football players that got that injury, that had that injury, they had moments of absolute insanity at times, and then moments of absolute clarity.
Right.
And that, in my mind, is what happened.
It was like that movie, The Concussion, with Will Smith.
But if you actually look at the actual case studies, not a movie, not something you read on the internet, but if you look at the actual medical case studies of it's what happened. We as fans have to accept it. I loved Chris Benoit as a wrestler. He was sick. He was extremely sick. He was mentally unstable, and he had abused, steroids in the past. Perhaps he was doing steroids now, or some other form of performance enhancement. Maybe that had some factor in it. Maybe it didn't. The man went off the deep end. He did a horrible, horrible thing. Whether he was in control of his faculties or not, he's not here to tell the story one way or the other. They're never going to touch that.
Word.
Who is it from Benoit's family that's going to? Did he have an older kid that was not a part of all that?
Yeah, he's got an older kid that's in wrestling.
Okay, that's what it is. His older kid has finally set foot in a wrestling ring. They said he's wrestling. Do you think
and
his
WWE
kid
won't touch him? No.
That's what I was going to ask. If he gets to the point to where he is outstanding, do you think they'll bring him into the organization, let him wrestle there?
Oh yeah, they will. Oh yeah, they will. Are you out of your mind? If this kid is a cash cow, wait a minute. If this kid is a cash cow, they will absolutely push him in, and then they'll make a storyline out of it. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That's money. Let me put it this way: that kid, that'll blow over. That whole thing will blow over if he's bigger than his dad. They'll put this kid in the Hall of Fame, and they'll be like, "Oh, my dad, blah 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 blah," and whatever. They'll be fine. If they put him in, if he's a cash cow, if he's as great as he's the next thing since Roman fucking Reigns, then they'll put him in. Are you kidding me? They'll put him in.
Let me carry it a step further. But when it comes to the Chris Benoit question you asked earlier, let me push it a step further. Now, is it a Vince McMahon thing, or is it a company thing in general that you think they'll never ever put him in?
I think it's a Vince thing. I think once Vince goes, I think you give it another 10 years. I think Triple H, because Triple H has worked with him. Triple H has traveled the roads with him. I think that once Vince goes, I think once the senior partners go, I think after years Vince goes.
You got to remember, this is a publicly traded.
Hold on, guys. Hold up. Ray, hold up. I want to get you guys in one at a time here so everybody gets in here. But Ray, go ahead and finish what you were, not the Ray, but Ray, go and say what you were, finish out what you were saying so I get somebody else on afterward. And then after you, I'm going to get Ray to get what he's going to say there.
Okay. I think that once Vince goes, and I think you give it 10, 15 years, once Goat has said, once the situation has died down, which I think is going to be hard because they're coming out with the Crossface movie that's already getting ready to be in production, okay, that they're going to bring him in because if it wasn't for Triple H mending the wounds between the Warrior and Vince, Warrior wouldn't have been in. If it wasn't for Triple H, Bruno Sammartino wouldn't have been. Triple H has been the one to segue all the shit from the past and say wipe it clean. So I feel that give it another 15 years, once Vince is out of the picture and the senior partners are out of the picture and this new era, this new regime, the up-and-comers are coming in, I feel that Benoit will make it in there because it'll be something that's going to – it's not going to sit with the younger fans. It's going to be the older generation that's going to remember all the shit that went down. And once those fans are gone, that's when he's going to go in because then it'll be a time when nobody's really going to be able to recall the situation.
All right, so the Ray, now I kind of agree with him in a sense that it will have to be that long if it's ever going to happen. It has to be that far down the road if it does happen. But what do you think then?
Okay. If we're talking about Chris Benoit's son coming in, that ain't going to happen. He's, 20-something years old now? You talking
I have no idea.
15 years from now, the kid will be almost 40, okay? What good is he going to be at 40 years old? They're not going to bring him in no time soon. As we get older, technology gets better. You're going to always be. It's going to always be brought up. When you mention the name Benoit, I don't care if it's 2055. Somebody's going to be able to pull up what the hell happened. You just are. And as far as him going to the Hall of Fame, you saying he fixed the thing with Ultimate Warrior and all that stuff. Yeah, Ultimate Warrior didn't kill his family. It was some petty arguments that could have been ironed out, you know what I'm saying, with people, and they did that when the man was alive. You know, he didn't die till after the Hall of Fame, so they worked that out while the man was alive. Chris Benoit's not here to work that out.
Let me say something. Let me add something. It was also that you said Ray, not the Ray, that he would smooth things over with, Ultimate Warrior and all that. Just like Ray said, how about he's not going to be able to smooth things over with the family of Nancy Sullivan. He's not going to be able to smooth things over with the angry fans. Regardless of what you say, things carry over, and I think Benoit is going to be somebody that people talk about. That's the black eye of wrestling. That is something huge. That's not going away in 60 years. That's something that's infamous. There's no way on God's green earth that Chris Benoit is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Guaranteed.
Okay, but to add to that, look what recently circulated with Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka had to stand trial on charges of murdering his girlfriend in the early 80s.
You talking about he was already in the Hall of Fame. You call something after the fact. That's after the fact. He's already in the Hall of Fame.
That's after the fact. That's after the fact. He can't say
that. All right. Now listen. On June 24th, 2007, professional wrestling changed forever. There were no more chair shots. The top rope became somewhere that people rarely ever went, and you never saw a headbutt. No, all the things that made wrestling really attractive to a lot of people went away that day, and it was for one reason only, and his name was Chris Benoit. And it does not matter. KJ's right. The Ray's right. It's going to be the year 3035. And it's still going to be relevant because it is a day that fundamentally changed professional wrestling, just like that day in 1959 that Buddy Holly's plane crashed changed music forever. We still talk about it today.
But you still get aspects of smoothing stuff over.
From the 30s.
There is no smoothing that over.
Right.
There is no smoothing that over.
But I think
no smoothing that over.
But I also feel that if they can, there was still controversy that revolved around Savage in the aspect of did he or did he not sit with Stephanie McMahon when she was 17?
Oh, that's all internet mumbo jumbo.
That's speculation.
You're comparing alleged sex to actual murder.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And not porn. Listen.
We're not talking about porn. We're not talking about drug addicts.
No, listen. Listen.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is porn. I'm saying you were talking about China.
Right.
Same thing that happened with Sunny. Okay.
Sunny did it after she went in the Hall of Fame, but Sunny did porn after she went into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, but what I'm saying is,
before she went in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, there's rumors speculating it, but
Just
but
like
again,
speculated between Savage and it's like you see your neighbor taking a lot of dogs, so you speculate that they might be eating said dogs. Now you walk by butchering Fido in the kitchen. Now you know that your neighbor is eating fucking dogs.
Now we're never gonna get dog lovers on the show, Mike. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks. No problem. Hey, and Al Snow, because that still hurt him when he was fed pepper.
Listen, that was
or
Big Boss Man's fault.
Pepe.
Yeah, it was, but still, yeah. But still, so anyway, enough about that. The bottom line is this: we will never see it. We will never see that. China will go in because that'll be smoothed over because that's just porn. And as far as I'm concerned, she was in Playboy, and so were all the other. Yeah, Sable's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why. Light her on fire. But China is going to be in the Hall of Fame. Mark my words.
But do you think it's right that Beth Phoenix is going in before China? Because there's already rumors circulating. Dave Meltzer,
I don't think it's right.
Wrestle, all that. Beth
It doesn't matter if we
going
think
in
it's
before
right. It's
China.
also you also have to remember that this Hall of Fame has to make money. It's about making money. Who's going to draw? Why do you think Kurt Angle's there? That's the biggest draw they could get. I mean,
I think now is the ideal time for China to go in. Despite, I mean, they did the whole in memory of thing with the Raw episode with China. Why not put her in this year? Why not wait till next year to put Beth Phoenix?
Because she can't draw any money. She's not alive to do it.
And it's too soon. It's just too soon.
Too soon, man. Too soon. No,
guys, yeah, well, we got like we got like 3 minutes and 50 seconds here. I want to say one thing about what y'all are talking about as far as the Hall of Fame stuff goes. I agree with. I can't believe I'm saying this. I agree with Mike and Chuck and Ray here about Ray about as much as I want Chris Benoit in the Hall of Fame, it's just not going to happen because whichever one of you said he's the black eye on wrestling is pretty much how it's going to be viewed because every sport or everything has its black eye. You've got the Chicago White Sox from that one year early in the 1900s, or you got Pete Rose, take your pick. You know,
you got Barry Bonds.
And the juicing and everything with him and Mark McGuire. You've got, for the people who are New England Patriot fans, I won't hear the end of this when I do this, but we got the whole Deflate Gate, or we got the whole cheating scandal, watching practices, everything. We got all that accusations going on. When it comes to basketball, they said Jordan was gambling. That's why he was gone for 2 years before he came back instead of just playing baseball because his dad wanted him to. They said he got his dad killed. You've got other things with basketball that's bad to happen years before as well. Each sport or each thing has its bad spot about it, and it won't be overlooked. It'll always be talked about. It'll always be talked about with Chris Benoit with wrestling fans because wrestling is a traditional thing in families, in most families. Fathers and sons will pass down stuff to their kids. Hey, I watched Ric Flair back
even nowadays, their daughters. Even nowadays, passing it down with the daughters.
Exactly. So, I mean, in 50 years from now, there's going to be somebody go, your grandfather was around when Chris Benoit was wrestling, and they said he should be in, but, he killed his family. And it was because he had some bad brain damage to all the chair shots and headbutts off the top rope he was doing. And I'm sure the guy didn't mean it. He had a bad lapse of his problem and everything, but he's never going to be in that Hall of Fame. We'll never see him in there, but we'll all talk about him and remember him just the same. So, I mean, regardless whether a person makes it in or not, and like you said, with Beth Phoenix making it in before China, that's what Ray was saying earlier. It doesn't matter because there's always going to be someone that says this person should make it in first anyway. So whether she makes it in first or China makes it in 15 years from now, she'll eventually get in.
They're still going to be in it.
Right. She'll eventually get in because, like Chuck said, it's just porn, all right? A number of them did Playboys. They're going to get into eventually probably as far as diva stuff goes. Not actual women's wrestling, but diva stuff. You'll see Sable. You'll see Tori Wilson. You might see Candice Michelle. I don't know.
Can I induct Kelly into the Hall of Fame?
If you want to be the one to induct her, you can. I'll see if I can pull some strings for you because this podcast has its out.
Induct or impregnate.
That's what he meant. That was code word for impregnate. I believe.
Things happen.
You know what he meant.
Hey, if you need some help, I won't tell if you don't.
Hey,
but anyway, guys,
I would try my best to do it by my damn self.
Look, I'll
Yes,
just go to hop on and go for a ride more.
Give the old college a try.
Well, you know the race. Sometimes you got to have someone in front of them to keep them from running away.
All right, listen, we have under a minute.
No, I know. We have 30 seconds left. That's what I'm trying to say. We got 30 seconds left to go for the show today. So
New Day Rock.
New Day Rock.
Happy birthday.
We will be back here next week. And what is next week, guys? What is next week?
Happy birthday, Mike.
Yes, happy birthday, Mike. What is it? Is it next week, Fastlane?
Happy birthday, Mike.
Or is it the week?
Yes, next week.
Fastlane is March 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
Okay, so either way it goes, we'll be back next week with the show, and follow us everywhere, YouTube, Instagram, screw Twitter as always.
Twitter.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye. Later.